Newfound Parkinson's trick. If you don't want to be caught shaking, just carry a fish. Thank you.
What's up, guys? Your boy, Benny. A couple years back, this guy named William Shakespeare wrote a play called Hamlet. Pretty well known. And in the play, this lady gets caught in a lie, and she gets thrown into hysterics because, well, she's lying. And the main character says, "I think the lady doth protest too much," meaning that in all of her antics, she's proving that she's not telling the truth, that she's actually panicking and telling a lie. And people do this naturally. This is why lie detectors work, because your blood pressure shoots up, you begin to sweat, and you begin to have a nervous system reaction when you are lying. And this happened in a Joe Biden interview from today, and it's quite remarkable, especially the thing that Joe Biden was lying about. Joe Biden, I guess against all other good judgment, decided to do another live TV interview. Now, he has metaphorically and perhaps literally crapped his pants in every interview that he has done so far over the past week, and then the debate about a week and a half ago. Joe Biden has just had an absolute and total physical and mental collapse on live TV. But he called in to a show, Morning Joe, this morning, and was asked a very specific question, and methinks Joe Biden doth protest too much. He was asked by the host, Mika Brzezinski, "Do you have Parkinson's disease?"
You've been tested for any age-related illnesses, pre-Parkinson's, or anything like that, that might explain sort of having a night like that where you couldn't finish sentences?
Look, I had before, I was feeling so badly before the debate. When I came back, they tested me for, I thought maybe I had COVID, maybe there was something wrong, I had an infection or something. They tested me, they gave me those tests, I was clear. So, but look, I had a bad night. But the fact of the matter is, look at what I'm doing. I mean, let me put it this way. If there was something that was wrong that night, it's not like it comes and that's one night and it goes away. That's why I've been out. I've been testing myself, been testing everywhere I go, going out and making the case. The night of that debate, I went out. I was out till 2 o'clock in the morning that very night. That very night. It drives me nuts, people talking about this.
It's very strange to hear Joe Biden. You know, he has this very manufactured image of this slow-talking, low-talking, whispery, old, creepy man. But hey, have you ever heard Joe Biden like that? Where he's screaming and like yelling? He does do this on occasion. But these wild swings are very interesting. And he's very defensive there. "It drives me nuts," he says, as he rambles incoherently, untranscribable. Joe Biden rambled incoherently recently at one of these campaign stops, right? And of course, I want to put down a breadcrumb trail of evidence for you to a much greater point, because I believe that Mika Brzezinski asked the question about Parkinson's disease for a very specific reason. I think they know something. This is a video of Joe Biden from this weekend. He's in Philadelphia, and he has a typical Joe Biden gaffe where he says that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is the state that won him his Senate seat, even though he's not from Pennsylvania and he was running in Delaware.
God. Even when I was running for Senate, and each time I ran, quite frankly, not a joke, Philadelphia in particular got me across the line. No, I'm not joking.
What the hell is he talking about? Like, what do you mean Philadelphia got you across the line? Like, Philadelphia's in Pennsylvania. You ran in Delaware. It doesn't make any sense. But there's something else in this clip. A lot of people paid attention to Joe Biden making that gaffe, but there's something else that's quite telling about this clip and what's going on here.
God.
Check out Joe Biden's hand.
I was running for Senate, and each time I ran,
kind of like lower. Let's just lower the audio here.
Philadelphia in particular.
Look at Joe Biden's hand. You'll notice that Joe Biden can barely hold his microphone, and that his microphone continues to shake back and forth. Now, you know, maybe he's just had too much caffeine, but I don't know, man. Those mics are not that heavy, and you're seeing Joe Biden like wiggle and wobble with that mic. And the moment I saw this, I said, you know, My grandfather had Parkinson's, and his hands were shaking and tremoring all the time, you know, the entire time that I knew him, which was 2 decades. His hands were constantly shaking and tremoring, and this kind of like startled me when I saw this. This is not normal. What does Parkinson's look like? What does pre-Parkinson's look like? Because there are other people who are noticing online that Joe Biden's hands appear to be shaking. Biden's hand tremors during campaign stop sparks alarm amid reports of Parkinson's disease specialists visited White House. And we'll get to that in a second, because the foremost neurologist specializing in Parkinson's has been visiting the White House close to 12 times. Let's go ahead and read Parkinson's disease here from the Mayo Clinic, okay? That is our source here. Just a real quick overview. Parkinson's disease is a progressive disorder that affects the nervous system and parts of the body controlled by nerves. Symptoms start slowly. The first symptom is a barely noticeable hand tremor. Okay? Tremors are common, but the disorder causes frequent stiffness and slow moving. Who does that remind you of? In the early stages of Parkinson's disease, your face will show little to no expression. Your arms may not swing when you walk. Your speech may be soft or slurred. Parkinson's disease symptoms worsen as your condition progresses over time. Wait, slow, slurred speech? Who does that remind you of?
I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president. I'm proud of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because...
This is from this weekend. Slurred speech, shaking tremors in the hands. You've all seen Joe Biden walk. Stiffness and slowing of movement. You've all seen Joe Biden walk like this. It's unbelievable. The guy's got Parkinson's. I think that's what's happening. Your arms may not swing when you walk. That's what it says here from the Mayo Clinic. This is remarkable. But what's potentially more remarkable is that this White House would allow for Joe Biden in this condition to carry on and try to secretly have meetings like this one with the foremost Parkinson's expert in the country. President Biden's physician met with Parkinson's disease specialists at White House. Oh, okay. Here's Dr. Kevin Canard, a Parkinson's disease specialist who met with Biden's personal physician at the White House in January and at least 9 other times. So why would that be? This is very strange. It's according to White House visitor logs. Let's go ahead and listen in on the reporter, John Levine, who broke the story.
New York Post political reporter John Levine, he broke the story about Biden's doctor meeting with a Parkinson's specialist. You know, John, I saw this, first of all, great reporting Saturday morning. You had to have scrupulously gone through all of the visitor logs. That could not have been easy to find this. But what do you make of January 17th, the Parkinson's expert goes to the White House, and we just heard from Biden that he had this neurological test in February, he says.
Right. Well, this is really one of those stories where there's more questions than answers. What we know is that on the 17th of January this year, it was Dr. Kevin Canard, a noted Parkinson's expert at Walter Reed Hospital. There was also a cardiologist at the White House that day, John Atwood, and they both met in the White House Residence Clinic with Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who, as you noted, is the president's physician. And I think, you know, the president's physician is the physician to the president. He doesn't treat other people. His primary responsibility is the president. There was a 4th person in the meeting, according to the visitor logs, and we don't know who that person was, and the White House won't tell us. Now, we knew, because I remember when President Biden released his physical report in February, it talked about how he had a neurological exam, and Parkinson's was specifically mentioned, and they said he didn't have it. So, I mean, the obvious question is, was Dr. Canard in the White House, you know, doing the test on President Biden at that time? And I think it's, you know, there are questions about whether Dr. O'Connor has been part of a cover-up. If you read the article, Ronnie Jackson, who was the physician to President Obama and President Trump, says he believes Dr. O'Connor is part of a cover-up. And so I think going forward, I really want to hear from Kevin Canard, the physician in the White House who came in from Walter Reed. What was he doing there? And why did he come 10 times, as you noted, from 2022 onward? Those meetings were not with Dr. O'Connor, but Walter Reed Medical Center does not treat low-level officials. He would not be coming in for a house call for an intern. So as I said, more questions and answers. I still want to know more, and I hope the White House is forthcoming.
Wow. So this story, of course, is currently big top news. You can see here the White House visitor logs, and you can see how many times Kevin Canard, this is the expert, this is the name of the expert from Walter Reed, the military hospital that treats the president. You can see how many times the Parkinson's expert came to the White House. Goodness. Now, Joe Biden, in a recent conversation, which was off the record and not recorded and not for public consumption, with Democrat governors, was asked about his health, and Biden said, "I'm healthy, it's just my brain." Okay. Okay. Well, what the hell does that mean exactly? Not sure. But we do know this, we're no doctors, but we can read. We can read what it says about Parkinson's. We can see, we have 2 functional eyeballs. We can see what's happening to Joe Biden. And we can say, why the hell are your hands shaking? Right? What is this? It looks like Tremors. It really does. And there's now multiple videos of this surfacing with Joe Biden having his hand shaking. So why is his hand shaking? Dementia? Parkinson's? The drugs to counteract each? I'm not exactly certain. I guess we'll let CNN's resident physician comment on this. You'd think they'd try to protect Joe Biden. Quite the opposite. Sanjay Gupta, go.
I mean, I actually watched the debate from overseas, and it was interesting. I got so many texts and emails and phone calls from other neurospecialists from the States and all over the world. A lot of people, Paul, had an opinion on this, and these were medical opinions. Opinions, I want to be clear. I mean, nobody is saying there's anything diagnostic or certain at all, but a lot of people paid attention to that debate. And while I think what they saw wasn't necessarily new, and we could put up a list of some of the things that sort of stood out to this group of doctors, I think the idea that it was so pronounced and so sustained over the 90 minutes, I think, was what really got people's attention. The halting speech, sometimes the confused rambling, Paula, but also other things as well, such as reduced volume of speech. That can be something that is important from a neurological perspective. And also the loss of facial expression, sometimes associated with certain movement disorders. They can also have an impact on cognition. Again, nobody is saying that these things in and of themselves are diagnostic of anything, but I think that the message pretty unanimously was it would be recommended by everyone to get more testing to sort of figure out, are we looking at something that is episodic, these little episodes, or is it reflective of something that is deeper, a condition of some sort that could be diagnosed and potentially even treated?